I'm Dr. Barry, licensed psychologist, and here we talk about psychology. I'm Dr. Barry, licensed psychologist, and here we talk about true crime and psychology. Thank you so much for joining. Let's hop right into today's topic. Let's go. Welcome. If y'all heard me talking before the intro started, uh, StreamYard did something where I was on screen before everything else was on screen. And so it is what it is. We are here to talk about Donna Adelson. This is my first time covering the case from beginning to end. Charlie's case, I really didn't follow it. Of course, I did not follow the other people that have already been convicted in this case. Here is a diagram of everyone involved. If you know nothing about this case, I have a prior video that's linked down in the description where I took a look at Wendy Adelson's testimony. A lot of people could see some of the family dynamics. And even in Charlie, so Charlie is Wendy's brother, in Charlie's trial, Donna being the controlling mother-in-law that meddles in everything, that came up during Charlie's trial. And so we kind of had an idea of where some of this might be going. I was so surprised during opening statements because there were some things that Donna has done that I didn't even know about. It didn't really surprise me, but I did know some things, and we are going to talk about that. Quick overview. Wendy Adelson was married to Dan Markell. They have two children, and they ended up getting a divorce and ended up in this really contentious custody battle. And in the background, Donna Adelson, we find out during opening statements, while Wendy is still married to Dan, Wendy's mother is sending her Match.com people. Like Wendy has a whole husband, and Donna is sending her potential people, I guess she thinks she should leave Dan for or something. Like, I could not imagine. I've never heard of anything like that. That's just way, way, way too involved. And we are going to get into enmeshment a little bit later. So, in the midst of this custody battle, Donna is saying that because there are emails of this, and Wendy, it's my understanding, does not reply to these emails, but she did not delete them. Okay. So Donna is sitting here. She's saying the custody battle between Dan and Wendy, it's costing them money. That Wendy's father, Harvey, so Harvey is Donna's husband, that he can't work as much. And Charlie is also a dentist. He was convicted and, all of this, that Charlie, he can't do like that this custody battle is just impacting everyone. We will get into enmeshment a little bit later. So what the state believes happened is that Donna complained to Charlie. Charlie had a girlfriend, and that's Catherine McBanois. And she has her child's father is Sigfredo Garcia, and I guess he's okay with doing some crimes. They pretty much figure out that the Adelsons will pay for Dan to no longer be here. And they set all this up. Sigfredo calls his friend Luis Rivera. He is just along for the ride. And when they get caught, Luis, because he wants to get back to his kids. I also have the links to Gossip Rumor and Innuendo, and also Tanika's channel. I watched the opening with Emily D. Baker. So I have all of those linked down below. Okay. So if you want to catch up on any things, those are the places that I got this information, where I watched, and all of this. And during this, Donna is saying that Dan is the narcissist, and that Dan is the verbally harmful person, and that Dan is, and I'm sitting here looking at Wendy like, ma'am, you need to sit down. Like, you are doing too much. Like, she is so involved, but she also like, so okay, a little backstory on the Adelson family. There is an older brother, Rob, who really doesn't like, he moved all the way to New York. He was dating a lovely Indian American woman, and Donna did not approve of that. And so he ends up marrying this other woman. It doesn't last. He divorces her, goes back and remarries the first woman, and pretty much he's kind of ostracized from the family. That might be how, that's just how it just seems. It just seems like that's how that was. So with and so Wendy has not been indicted. Wendy has immunity from the state, where anything that she testifies in court, it can't be used against her. And her attorney fought to squash the defense's subpoena. So Donna wanted to be, her lawyer, her team wanted to be able to ask Wendy questions that could probably point the finger, but like, Wendy doesn't have immunity if the defense lawyer says things. So Wendy is smart. Okay, out of all these people, because how they got caught, or it's not funny, but like, okay, so Luis Rivera, he rented the car they used to do the crime in his name, and like with his phone number, with his real address and everything. And so it was pretty easy. It was like a green, I think it was like a hybrid Prius. I think it was like a green Prius or something. A neighbor saw like the green Prius and heard the pew pews. That neighbor testified after opening statements. And this case is just a web. Okay, just, we talked about web of lies in the last one. This is just like a convoluted, just, this is a whole web. But Wendy never talked to, or even Charlie never talked to the person that did the pew pewing. And so they tried to insulate themselves from everything. And I wasn't aware that Donna made the appointment for Wendy's TV to be repaired, and that was Wendy's alibi. The day all of this went down, Donna was the one that made the appointment. During opening statements, we learn Donna is the one that signed the checks that after Dan Markel was deceased, Catherine McBanawa received payments from Charlie's business. Okay. They literally washed, so Donna washed the money in the washing machine, because I guess the money, I've heard people say it was like wet and moldy. I thought she was trying to get the fingerprints off of it. Like, I think she was concerned about the money getting, but like, so when you talk about laundering money, like, she literally washed the money. And like, this case is just a lot. Okay. And we are going to break down, and I have some articles on enmeshment linked down in the description, because we are going to break down just how in an unhealthy family dynamic, how people can feel that other people's emotions are theirs and that their emotions belong to other people. And I also want to talk about how enmeshment plus entitlement. So I feel like Donna Adelson felt she was entitled to her grandchildren. How dare Dan, even though Donna is over here talking bad about him, likely in front of the kids, because the kids, I think, said something to the effect of like, Baba is stupid. And and Dan Markel strongly believed that Donna was poisoning him against his children, and that she was actively working on him not being active in their lives. And I think her emails prove that. So there are emails where Donna is telling Wendy to pretend to be Catholic, like to make an appointment, try to get the kids in a Christian school because Dan Markel was he was Jewish and his faith was very important to him. And so Donna is trying, and she used the word blackmail, that's my understanding. In the emails, she used the word blackmail, and that they're gonna try to use that so that Dan will just agree for Wendy to be able to move to Miami. So all of this was because Wendy was not able to move to Miami. Now Wendy is gonna say this was all her mama. I don't know. So Wendy on the stand. So Wendy, she answers the questions that she's asked. She, I think, tries to she gives vague answers. So when they ask her, "Is your mother controlling?" She kind of hesitates, like, "Well, in some aspects," but like she doesn't. We're all looking at this and like, yes, your mother is very controlling. Like, if my mother was doing half of those things to me, we would I would have to set some very serious boundaries. And from what I'm seeing, I don't think that Wendy set boundaries with her mom at all. But Donna doesn't like boundaries. We're also going to talk about enmeshment, entitlement, and manipulation, and how in enmeshed families, how manipulation, especially emotional manipulation, can be used to attempt to control people. And I think there are clear signs. So I'm a psychologist. I am not their psychologist. I am basing all of my thoughts, and these are just my random, rantings on YouTube. And so I don't know that this is exactly what's happening. We are talking in general about what could be happening in a situation like this. Okay. That's my disclaimer. All right. Oh, where do we start? Oh, this case. Let me know if y'all have questions. Be sure to put the question marks in front of it. If you could just like the video, we are at 200 people. Thank y'all for watching. I really try to break things down in a way that we can all understand. And so let's talk about enmeshed family systems. So, enmeshment is a term that comes out of family therapy, family psychology, systems theory. And in enmeshed families, there's a dynamic where family members have unclear or non existent boundaries. And I would say that the family members, so between Wendy, Charlie, Donna, and Harvey, from what I've seen, there were non existent boundaries, except for like if Wendy just didn't call mom back or something. And I think Donna would probably call her excessive, or that she would probably call Charlie and complain to Charlie if Wendy wasn't answering the phone or something. Uh, ooh. I am also, so y'all don't let me forget to talk about how Donna, the judge, reprimanded her for her emotions during court. Because while they were reviewing, so I think it was just so not just so they were reviewing stippling of some of the wounds. Donna is a okay. So every therapist, every behavior analyst that I've seen review Donna's behavior, especially when she's upset, it seems to be an act. And I don't know that it's an act. I'm just saying it feels a lot like an act. And I think when that email comes up of Donna telling Wendy to put on the performance of her life in court, I wonder if the jury is going to remember this. Because when Donna gets so when Donna gets emotional to get her point across, she has it at a 10. Okay? So when she's talking about, you know, getting too many carbs and not having the ear doctor, like her complaints about jail, her, not being able to have her ears flushed, her tiny ear canals. When she is talking about this, like this is destroying her life. Every single thing is destroying her life. And she's very emotionally reactive. But to me, it seems to be to get people on her side and to get attention and support. I don't know that she's actually that upset because it seems like she's working herself up to look that upset, but, like, she she's not giving the facial expressions and the things that would tip. So Emily D. Baker pointed out how as she's crying, her nose isn't red. You don't see tears coming down. And even the judge admonished her, saying, like, hey, I don't want to do this in front of the jury. You need to cut it out. Those weren't his exact words, but like those are my, my things talking about it. Uh um all right. I think Donna is a lot like Sarah Boone, and another case we just covered recently. Uh, there are certain people that their personality style makes it to where they desperately want to tell their story, even if they're telling their story could, 'cause I don't think Donna's gonna do well on cross-examination. Because I think even her lawyers are preparing for her to testify. That could be a bluff to the state, so that the state, thinks about what questions they would ask her, I don't know. So, or, like, they have witnesses lined up to rebut any testimony she attempts to say, blah, 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 but I personally think that Donna will probably testify. I think she thinks that she can get the jury on her side. I don't know that for sure. I'm just guessing. Okay. Yeah, there was no redness and no snot as she was appearing all upset, and it makes it hard for people with emotional boundaries to connect with her emotion. Now, if she was my client and if that was happening in therapy, we I wouldn't mention anything probably the first few times, but eventually I would give some feedback of, have people ever wondered if you were have you ever gotten feedback where people, like, ignored your emotions, or I don't know, like, I would ask some questions to see, because it comes off fake to me. It does not seem genuine at all. So she has a hearing impairment, and I also don't know if she's trying. I've seen defendants, especially older defendants, use the headphones. I think she can also hear the sidebar. So when her attorneys are talking with the judge, when she has that on, she can hear what the attorneys are saying up at the front. But I believe the audio feed is boosted because I think she claims to have some hearing issues. Okay. She seems to be doing just fine without those in the jail. Like, she's over here trying to offer people prescription pills, housing. Oh, this is the allegation. The state is alleging that she was trying to get people to lie and say that Catherine McBanawa, Sigfredo Garcia's ex, or I guess wife. That's what Luis said. I don't know, but that Catherine McBanaman trying to say that she lied about everything. Yeah, oh my gosh. Um, alright, alright. So with that, I was just checking the chat to see what was happening, to see if I had missed anything. So, with this case and looking at enmeshed families and enmeshed family dynamics, you have once again those unclear boundaries or non-existent, leading to excessive emotional dependence and lack of individual identity. So, to me, Donna sees Wendy's problem as her problem, and it's almost like she sees Wendy's grandkids or Wendy's kids as, like, her kids almost. She doesn't say that, but the way that she is fighting to have access to her grandkids, it's more to me than just like a typical grandparent. Like, she is wanting, I don't know, like, it's just it's very odd. Um, in mesh families, members are excessively involved in each other's lives, often blurring the lines between personal space, thoughts, and feelings. This can hinder individual growth and autonomy. And I honestly think that Wendy did not want sorry, not Wendy, I'm sorry, Donna. Sometimes I get my names mixed up. Donna is the mother of everybody. She is the one the state believes was like the ringleader in all of this, that Donna is the one, you know, pulling everybody's strings, that she's the one kind of orchestrating everything. I think she thinks she's really like, I think she thinks she's really smart. And I think, I don't know if they thought they could get away with it. I don't know. She's innocent until proven guilty. So we don't know, because Donna's over here, her defense team in their opening statements, having looked at this case and knowing the evidence that's likely going to come up down the road, it was hard to watch Donna's defense lawyer get up there and talk about how awesome Dan was and how much Donna loves her grandkids. And it was almost like her defense lawyer was saying, like, Donna was fine. Donna didn't have a big issue with anything. And it's like, what? What? Donna loved him. And it's just like, it was hard to hear that. And even her defense lawyer kind of got a little emotional as she was giving her opening statement. Um, I think to show empathy for the victim, I don't know, but it was hard to listen to, knowing what's coming later. And I think the state is definitely going to bring in some evidence that contradicts a lot of that because of all of that. And so, um and I was surprised. The defense was like, even with Luis Rivera. So Luis Rivera, the one who, I think he was the getaway driver. He's the one that drove the car the day of the crime. Sigfredo was the one that did the pew pewing. Luis testified on Friday, and the defense on cross examination. First of all, the lady couldn't get his name right, but that's all right. You know, me and names, I'm bad with names too. But like Rivera, Garcia, not the same. And she called him Garcia twice. And the first time, because I missed it, but Emily D. Baker did not. Because he was like, what? Because she called him Mr. Garcia, and that's not his name. And then again, like she called him Garcia again, and he was like, ma'am, like that's the second time. And I think the lawyer was like trying to get, I don't know, she kind of got in his personal space a little bit, and he was just like, I think he set a very clear boundary. I thought his testimony came across very honest, and he said what he did. He said his role. He said what he thought. He kind of said that he thought Wendy benefited the most from all of this, and the defense pulled that out of him. And the defense team, I think, is pointing the finger at like it was Charlie's money and it was Wendy. Donna is just this innocent grandmother. That seems to be the defense's strategy. We will see. Like he set her straight so fast. I agree, witness. It was disrespectful. To me, he did it in like a polite, like put some respect on my name, but like it was assertive, but not, to me, it wasn't aggressive, but it was like, "Mm, that's not my name." Garcia, whole other person. That's not me. Like that just wasn't his name. And so uh um and that could play, if there, I don't know the exact makeup of the jury, but that could cause some issues down the road. Yes, I am aware. So somebody, Northwest, mentioned that he was raised in the foster care system, and that he has ties, because they're not going to bring Latin kings into the defense wanted to be able to say it. Like the defense wanted to be able to say the specific affiliation that he had, and they aren't. Um, you, Dr. Barry, aren't questioning him in court. Exactly. So if I was questioning him in court, I would do my best. I would have looked at his name right before I went up, or I wouldn't have said his name, because she said his name at times when she didn't really have to, but she got the man's name wrong twice. Harvey was in court, right? Was I wrong? I thought Harvey was in court. I could be wrong. Yeah, Luis was the caboose of the train, and poor Luis, like he was just friends with Sigfredo. And but when it all went down, he was like, I'm gonna cut me a deal. I know the first person that talks gets a deal, and he was able to get his time for the second-degree, murder charge, to run with some federal time. I heard it was a RICO charge from, Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo. Those, are gonna be those are happening at the same time. All this happened back in 2014. I don't think I mentioned this yet. So, it took a while for the evidence and everything to fall into place. And I think the state to press these charges, my heart breaks for Dan's children. So at the time that the homicide happened, his kids were 3 and 4 years old. And every kid is different, but sometimes when something happens around that age, some kiddos don't really keep memories of like sometimes they may not have memories of their other parent. To me, they're the ones that are most impacted by all of this. I can't imagine my uncle being in jail. My uncle's in jail for participating in the death or orchestrating. Like that's what he was charged with and convicted of. Charlie was the death of my father. He's been living with, Wendy and all of that, and they have so her 2 sons, they are now teenagers, and, I hope that they have a good therapist. I hope that they are insulated from all of this. I hope their school I just hope that their emotional safety is upheld within all of this. Um it doesn't seem like during Charlie's trial, Wendy said that she still had a good relationship with her mom. After Donna was arrested, I don't think Wendy has called. I don't know how much contact there has been between Wendy and even her father, and how much contact the children have had with them. There was a law, and I wanted to mention it. So, Dan Markel's family fought hard for grandparents' rights in Florida. A law was passed in 2022 and it was named after Dan Markel. It's called the Markel Act. It was signed into law in 2022, and it allows grandparents to petition for visitation when one parent has been found criminally or civilly liable for the death of the other parent. And this bill, inspired by the death of Dan Markel, uh, uh, creates a rebuttal presumption that a grandparent is entitled to visitation in such tragic circumstances. Grandparents must first meet the initial criteria in a preliminary hearing and then engage in family mediation before a final hearing can be held. And so in this act, there's a triggering event, there's rebuttal, presumption, court process. And so there's just all of that. I don't know the law, but I heard Emily D. Baker mentioned that there was a law, and so I went right to YouTube and I'm sorry, Google. I went right to Google to look up what that law was. Yeah, I thought Harvey was in court. So, um, all right. All right, I'm catching up on the chat. Okay, so I've heard green. I've heard people say green, but so people are saying goldish color. I don't know. Yes, Jessica Lee, I saw your comment about the age your kiddos were, and I've worked with kids that have had a parent die either so natural causes, die by overdose, or tragically by someone else's hands. And the younger the kiddos are, it can be really hard because they also grieve those memories that they don't remember. And even for older kiddos, it can still be harder. They at least have like the memories of dad at soccer games, or I don't know, like they have more memories. It's still incredibly hard. But I've seen a lot of complicated grief when it happens when kiddos are really young. All right. So when I say insulate the kids, if that's what we're talking about, so I'm talking about protecting the kids from, like, until all this plays out, I think the kids should be protected. That those are just my own personal thoughts. Somebody said it was the Prius was green, so silvery green. I don't know. All right. All right. So, oh my. This case. So we talked about lack of boundaries. There is an emotional fusion where family members may become overly reliant on one another for emotional support, leading to a blurring of individual emotional experiences. And there can be this parentification of children where the children are expected to make sure that mom doesn't get upset, or you see I'm upset, just do what I want so that I'm not upset, instead of the adult managing their emotions. So my child is never responsible for my emotions. If I'm having a bad day, even let's say my child did something that was upsetting, it's my job to manage that emotion. And then I give him consequences for whatever happened. Or then we talk about whatever it was he did, but I don't try to control my child's behavior. And I don't try to have my child change his behavior so that it fits with my emotional needs. So that when now there, like I said, there are consequences. So there's a parenting aspect, but when control happens, that's where someone's anxiety and the parent's attachment style, to me, uh Donna Donna Adelson seems to have an anxious attachment style. I don't know that for sure, but that seems, I don't know, like she doesn't seem to be securely attached to her kids. We often talk about attachment from the child to the parent, but I also, because I work with adoption, I also look at the attachment of the adult to the child. That becomes really important when working with adoptive parents, with adoptive families, because when the child is struggling with attachment, if the adult also has an insecure attachment style, it's going to cause more problems. And it's easier for me to like help the adult work on things than to like it just helps. And so to me, um Donna would get incredibly anxious about like things aren't going my way, things aren't going the way that I want them to. Like this isn't fair. He has all the control. How dare he think that he should be the one that has say over, and these are literal emails. Like Donna has sent emails complaining about the father of the child wanting to be actively involved in decisions around their health, their all of these things. Um, uh, and when there's an issue, the issue is between the mom and the dad, not the mom, dad, and grandparents. And so Donna coming in, like she's almost, and she's like telling Wendy to not be passive and to not just go along with it. Like she's trying to get Wendy to fight for things. And it's just, oh my gosh, it is so much. It is so much. And within enmeshed families, parents may attempt to control their children's thoughts and feelings or rely on them for emotional support, sometimes living vicariously through their children's achievements. And I think, and my personal thought is Donna Adelson definitely lived vicariously through her children. Even when Charlie like was like on substances and like, had all these different romantic interest and all of that. But he was still, I guess he still maintained a dental practice. I don't know, like, I don't know. It was because to me, in my personal thought is that Donna enabled Charlie's immaturity. Okay. So let's talk about that a little bit. So to me, Charlie Adelson came off incredibly emotionally and behaviorally immature. Like I think he's but he came across like a teenager. He didn't come across like a grown adult. And I think Donna wanted to keep him immature. My personal thoughts, I don't know this for sure, because that could she could control him. Because if he realized I'm a whole adult, why is my mom telling me what to do? Like, what? Like, I don't have to do this. I am my own individual person. So, individuation, so in adolescence, it is normal for kids to try to start to be their own person. And parents can sometimes struggle with this because around 12, around those middle school years, and in middle school, they don't really know, it's a lot. Middle school, that's a tough age range. High school, they're kind of getting it together. By 18, hopefully, we've kind of figured things out, but also realize we still have to be respectful of our parents and blah, blah, blah. But that can be a difficult time because they're trying to be their own person and also like listen and live within the expectations of their parents, but also they're going to test those limitations and boundaries. And so it can be a lot. Um, all right. Let's see. We're going to keep it going. Children in enmeshed families may have difficulty developing a sense of self, making it challenging to form healthy relationships outside of the family and regulate their own emotions. Those are just general statements. And that's when people stay enmeshed. So to me, Rob broke away from this enmeshment. Rob is the I think he's the oldest. I could be wrong. Yeah, I'm almost positive. Rob Adelson, he broke away from all of this foolishness and moved from Miami to New York, is my understanding. Um, the parentification I mentioned that children may be expected to take on adult roles, becoming confidants or caregivers to their parents, which can result in this reversal. And that's where, to me, in a lot of the emails that I saw from Donna to Wendy, it seemed like she was saying like, "Wendy, how can you let him do this to us?" When really, like, the situation was between Wendy and Dan and the kids. And yes, it affected the grandparents, but to me, not to the extent that Donna was making it to be. Okay. Enmeshed families, it can cause mental health issues, relationship difficulties, difficulty with independence. And there are some tips, and we'll get to that towards the end because I also wanted to talk about um, let's see, I have some other things highlighted that within enmeshment, there can also be a loss of self where individuals may struggle to develop their own sense of identity, needs, and desires. And so that's where, like, if the mom didn't get to be a cheerleader as a child, sometimes they will force one of the children to become a cheerleader. They're almost like living their life through their children, which is a big problem. It's not good. And there can be this guilt and obligation that's used to blame and to almost say that they're abandoning the family if they try to meet their own individual needs. And I think that was clearly shown in Donna's emails saying like, all of this is going to cause us all of this pain. Your father has to travel and blah, blah, blah. When really people are making choices. So if they choose to help Wendy out by paying for groceries, and if they choose to do all those things, they are choosing to support their daughter. They can't then put it back and use that as like, now you need to get a better agreement with the court because because this is causing us so much pain. And so, yes, blame and shame. Definitely, definitely. All right. Um, Donna literally convinces herself of the lies. I know, like but then like doesn't seem to have the insight to realize that a lot of the things that she was claiming Dan was doing, she was doing those things. And I think the state is going to call Donna controlling. They're probably going to ask Wendy that question again of like, is your mother controlling? Is she over involved in the lives of her children? And it'll be interesting to see how Wendy answers these questions, seeing how. And I don't know if witnesses are sequestered. So sometimes witnesses are not allowed to watch the court feeds and all of that. I'm sure her attorney has probably, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's happened. Her attorney will probably be in court prepared with Wendy, um, because the state does believe that Wendy was involved. They just don't have enough evidence to charge her yet. Like that seems to be the state's. They call her an unindicted co-conspirator. That's my understanding. Welcome, my father's alibi, to the membership. All right. Ay. Okay, so witnesses are sequestered. She was in the hallway all afternoon on Friday. Okay. All right. So, thank you for that, Northwest. All right. Let me see. We're going to keep moving through this information. There can be emotional flooding. So, individuals may absorb and react to the emotions of others, creating chaotic and overwhelming environment where it's hard to distinguish whose emotions are whose. So, when I'm reading Donna's email and she's saying, like, oh my gosh, we're all so upset. And this is affecting, because I don't know that Charlie was as affected as Donna was saying. Like, Donna's over here like, "Oh my gosh," like, to me, if Charlie is affected, it's because Donna keeps calling Charlie and trying to get him involved. Like, I don't know how, and, like, I don't, and they're expecting Charlie to help fix the situation by, like, with the whole TV alibi. I miss the fact, on when the FBI, when their phones were tapped, that, that Wendy told Charlie, sorry, not Wendy, my gosh, Donna Adelson told Charlie the TV is about 5, when, somebody that was pretending to ask for a bribe and asking for $5,000. So the TV is the alibi. And then for them to say the TV is about 5, I just thought that was like, whoa. It'll be interesting to see what the jury decides with all of this. Because there is a lot of information. This is very complicated. When you break it down, once you realize how everything flows, you kind of see it. The state's presentation was beautiful. It was like, with like they had a video presentation where things like appeared, and I don't know, like somebody had fun with PowerPoint, or I don't know what they used to make that presentation, but it was pretty cool. Do, 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 do. They're gonna bring up that Donna tried to flee to Vietnam with a one-way ticket, her and Harvey. But yes. Oy, the defense is gonna try to paint Donna as a normal person, and I think that could backfire on them as more information comes out of how involved she was with everything. Hey, yes, you can have the iPad. Thank y'all for letting me parent real quick. Yep, you can have the iPad. All right. Do you have any questions for me, or are you good? If you stay in here, you have to find headphones. Okay? If you're gonna watch YouTube Kids, or you can go to your room or downstairs to watch YouTube Kids, okay? And if you need anything, Dada's right there. Yes. With headphones if you're in here, because I'm doing a video. Um, so I saw a teenager sitting on the defense side, and I hope it wasn't one of the children. I don't know who it was. I did see that in the court feed. I don't know who was sitting there. Thank y'all for letting me parent, around 2:30, and he waited till like 2:43 to come and ask for the iPad. We do quiet time from 1 p.m. until 3, and but he gets electronics about 30 minutes in. Yeah, so Sarah, when you said it was a normal day, and so they're trying to portray Donna as this like normal, caring grandmother, but then you hear everything and you're just like, "This is a lot. This is too much." My son as okay, hopefully, my son, he that's like, because 'cause y'all heard me say, like, "If you need anything, your father's." So, I am in my office, then it's my son's room, and then my husband, I think, is in the office, or he's in the basement if he's one of those places. Okay. Can we talk about the statement from the wiretap? Paraphrasing, one child I don't speak with, one that's almost dead, and one that I love. doesn't even ask. So I wonder if the one child I don't speak with, I think that's Rob. I wonder if the one is that Charlie? I don't know. So I don't know that one. And then the one I love doesn't even ask. I wonder if that's Wendy. Y'all tell me what y'all think about that. That would be my guess of who's who in that statement. That would be my guess. And Rob, kudos to Rob because Rob was not involved at all. He likely had no clue any of this was going on. He was living his life. I wish Rob all the happiness. This has to be odd to see family going through all of this, but sometimes it's like the consequences of your actions, like ay, and my heart breaks for the kids. And yeah. Yeah, so I thought Charlie because Charlie was on, like, substances, like, Charlie wasn't healthy, like, Charlie was not living a good life, like, Charlie was, yeah, Charlie, I think, had a substance problem based on what I've heard. And the cycle breaker is always looked at by the family because the cycle breaker triggers the people that stay, like, they sometimes I don't know if they I don't know, but, like, their pain the people that stay, it can be painful for them to see the cycle breaker thrive, to see them move on and not be as connected. Um, Charlie, I think, was desperate for his mother's approval, that's just my thoughts. Charlie, I think, very much was, like, needed Donna to be okay. Because I think even on one of the prison calls after Charlie was convicted, I felt like Charlie was trying to calm his mom down still, and he's, like, the one, like, in jail, having to do appeals and all that, and so, woohoo, 1 year 1 year anniversary, cycle breaker. I love it, and I'm here for the cycle breakers. I'm here to give the cycle breakers tools, because the people that need your boundaries the most are not going to like them. So if Wendy, y'all know me and names, if Wendy had tried to set boundaries with her mother, I don't think Donna would have taken it well. I think Donna would have tried to play the victim like, "How could you do this to me?" Because I would have said the court wouldn't have to say, "Don't speak negatively about my child's father," around like, I would be the one saying, "You can't say those things about my child's father." Um, the court wouldn't have to say, y that somebody needed supervised visitation. I would also be concerned about the influence that somebody is having over my very young, impressionable children. The bad part is that people that haven't broken the cycle, they don't realize that this isn't normal. Excuse me. Sorry. So for Wendy and Charlie, and before Rob broke free, Donna was their normal. I will say that again. So for Wendy, Charlie, and before Rob kind of broke away from everything, Donna was their normal. And they probably had friends. They're probably like, "Oh, seems like my mom is way more involved." Give me a second. They probably noticed that something was off, but sometimes you don't realize just truly how dysfunctional your family is until you kind of get some space, maybe go to therapy and you kind of see that like, "Ooh, this is not normal." Wow, you mean your mother doesn't send you 50 emails? She doesn't try to draft motions for your lawyer? And Donna is not a lawyer. Like, Donna does not know the legal system, and she's over here trying to give Wendy wording to her lawyer of what they need to say to fight for something in court. And the judge, I've rarely heard of a judge say that, like, relocation, forget it. Like, I am dismissing this with prejudice. You can never bring up relocation again. Like, I have, I've had families involved in a bunch of court cases, and I have in all of my work, and I've been practicing as a therapist since 2010. I have as like under my own license, under supervision since 2005, but I have never heard a court say that you that they were no you could not bring up relocation ever again. I've never heard it. And so, yeah, okay. What if, as an adult, you set a boundary and that person literally says your boundaries don't matter? So, boundaries are not about what the other person does. Okay. So, that is an expectation. And a friend of mine did a great video. I wonder if there's any background on it. Her name is Dr. Raquel Martin. It's over on Instagram. It's probably on TikTok. I don't know if she brought it over to YouTube as well, but with a boundary, so saying, "Don't call me after 10 PM," that's an expectation. Saying, "I don't answer calls after 10 PM," that's a boundary. So boundaries are about what I'm doing. Expectations are about what I expect of other people. So my boundary is my phone goes on do not disturb at 11 PM. There are very few people, and if they misused being like, so if there was an issue, if so right now I have people that even in do not disturb, my phone will still ring if they call, but I don't answer calls after 11 PM. It's just so it's not somebody can call me after that time, but I don't pick up the phone. Now, if it was my best friend and I knew that she was going through a situation, I see the call, I'm awake, I would answer it, but that's when it's my choice. And then she hasn't crossed my boundary. I chose to answer the phone. So that's where sometimes people give other people way more power than they have in relationships. So to me, my personal thoughts is just okay. So y'all are here to listen to me talk. I think Wendy gave a lot of her power to Donna, and she didn't have to. Now I don't like, but like I think she allowed her mother to be overly involved in her life because when I realize I am allowing this, then I am the one that can make it stop. Because sometimes when a person is in this type of dynamic, they think there's nothing I can do to make my mother stop. And it's like, well, there are some we could set a few boundaries, and that's where you pick and choose. And sometimes with some families, you have to set what we call sneaky boundaries. So when I work with families that are from certain cultural backgrounds, where saying no to a parent is not like you can't say no to a parent. Um, Sometimes we say, so if I'm working with a college student and their parent wants them to go home for Thanksgiving and Christmas, this student is like, I just can't take my parents like twice. Like I only want to go back for Christmas break. I don't want to go back for Thanksgiving. We sometimes say, okay, what is something you could say that aligns with your parents, with what's important to them too? So something that a person can say is like, I know how important my grades are to you, and I have reports, I have all these things due. So I'm not going to be able to make it back for Thanksgiving because I need to stay back to study. And that's sometimes what we call like a sneaky boundary. Instead of just saying, no, I'm not coming back for Thanksgiving, that sometimes they might give a reason that they know the family's gonna like. Like, oh yeah. Oh, my diligent student is staying back to I don't know. And yeah. Okay. So your I think your question is about Harvey. And I think Donna ran stuff. So I think Donna thought that Harvey couldn't function without her. Now, they have been married for, I think, 50 years or something. They've been married for a very, very long time. And she might think that he can't function without her because when Donna was getting arrested on the jet bridge, they made it seem like he needed concierge service back home, and like he couldn't order his own Uber, or like he couldn't figure out how to get home because they're probably taxis at the Miami airport. Like he could probably just hail a taxi and he knows his address. Like, but I don't know if that act of he needs me, he can't do this without me, was more of don't arrest me. You can't do this to me because he can't live without me. When I mean Harvey's done all right for the last. however long Donna's been locked up. Like, Harvey's done okay. And so that's how I feel. I feel like Donna infantilized Harvey, and Harvey, I don't think he's as, dysfunctional. Now, sometimes what happens is a person will do that to manipulate the other person. So, 'cause wasn't the plan to go to Vietnam and then to, like, not exist anymore? But, like, why do we have to go like, that plan never made sense to me. Like, why are we fleeing to Vietnam, and then the plan is to, like because why did Harvey have to go? To me, Donna was I don't know if Harvey will ever be charged or convicted. Donna's hands are all over everything. I think now Harvey might have known. I don't know what Harvey knows. I don't know what Harvey would say. Donna seems to talk about things in front of everybody. Like she doesn't care who's there. That's how. So it's not funny, but it kind of is. So the day Charlie was convicted, um, Donna called him and the call was disconnected on Charlie's end, but she still stayed on the phone and it continued to record everything she said. And she had a lawyer in the room, but she also had some other random person in the room too. And if you have an attorney there and there's some other third party there, the conversation became admissible because she was telling all her business and this other person was standing right over there too. Donna, to me, she doesn't have boundaries for herself or others. Like she just bleeds into everything and just like dumps and you just whether you want to know or not, you are going to know what's going on with her and all the intimate things that we really don't even need to know. So all right. Yeah, I think I think Harvey just like and also I think he worked a lot. You know, dentists are pretty busy. I know my dentist, my childhood dentist complained about his wife but he stayed working. Like he stayed and he's like, I'm here working because, my wife and daughter, they're going over. I don't know. Like he would tell all their business. My dentist loved to gossip and I love to listen. I don't remember everything he said. I'm not gonna say his name. But, my childhood dentist, like, he was hilarious, and, but he worked a lot. He worked Monday through Friday, like, really long hours. He probably golfed on the weekend. So, I don't know, like, how much time they were spending together. As his practice kind of started to wind down, maybe he was home a little bit more. I also wonder about their cash pay business. So, like, because I think they just had a whole bunch of cash, and I was trying to Google if, like, the IRS ever investigated them for tax stuff. I couldn't find that, so but I did Google it just to see if it came up. Welcome to the channel. Here we talk about psychology and true crime, and my goal is to always teach. So we kinda have this thing where we call ourselves psych nerds. I forgot this hasn't been up there in a while. I took it down, I think, when I was on somebody else's stream or had somebody else on. Um and, let's get to a question. What did you think about the defense making it sound like Don thought Dan was amazing? I'm not laughing because it's funny. I thought it was funny that they were not haha funny, but just like, "Ooh, this is gonna bite her in the ass later." Like, so they can say that right now, but I think it'll look bad in front of the jury. Like, I wish the defense had gone up, but Donna probably wouldn't let them get up and be like, "Hey, she could kind of be a bitch sometimes, but she didn't want to kill anybody." Like, could is that a defense? Is that a defense to be like, "Hey, yeah, she maybe sent some mean emails. Maybe she said some bad things about him, but she didn't want him to be dead." Like could that have been a defense? But I don't think she would have let them say that. Like I think she wants to be portrayed as this grandmother that grieves his the loss of her son-in-law, but it's to make it about her, and I don't think it's about anybody else. My own personal thoughts, I don't know that for sure, okay? All the evidence, so we're just gonna wait for the evidence to show the opposite, which then makes her look like a lying liar that just lies. Like, that's what happens when you try to portray her as this innocent grandmother, but there are some spicy emails And that's just what came up in Charlie's trial. And now that they're trying her, I think there's more that probably didn't even come up. Do you think Charlie will testify and support Donna's innocence? So Charlie is appealing his case as well. And so I think he's probably going to say, my mom never talked to anybody, because that's true. So Charlie's the one that talked to Catherine. Like, Donna never talked to Catherine McBanawa. She signed the checks. And so they might ask, like, why is your mom? And I don't know what Charlie's explanation is going to be. I don't know if I don't know what he's going to say about that. Um, I don't know. But uh if he knows her strategy is to say the money was his, I don't know. This is just this is just hard. When Donna was fake crying, do you think she was crying for herself? I think she was putting on a show for the jury. Those are my own personal thoughts. I don't know that for sure. Okay. So I personally think that Donna was trying to look like a grieving grandmother. So I think Donna is very much about appearances and about how things look, how people see her, what people think about her. She wants us to think about her all the time. And it's just too much. It is way, way, way too much. And so, all right. Was it Wendy or Donna on the beach with Katie? I thought that was Wendy, but I thought she tried to downplay that. I'd love to see what Katie says about that, but Katie doesn't come off as reliable. Like, Katie's story changed a little. I don't know that they could hinge a whole defense just on Katie. I don't know. And I don't think Wendy has a paper trail. Donna sent the emails. It's my understanding. I think Wendy tried to delete some emails, and they know, or the text messages, that they know the ones that she tried to delete. Wendy's the one. Okay, so if something ever happened to somebody in my family, uh, and the police were like, so Wendy not immediate, but like Wendy, as they are interviewing her at the police station, she says, "Well, my brother Charlie didn't really, and my family kind of, like, who does that?" But it happened, and she also said an ex-girlfriend. She said maybe a student that, there was a bad grade from. So she gave she did give multiple reasons, but she included her family and her brother, Charlie, in the list of people that may have an issue with her ex-husband. So, okay. All right. Like, she just like ooh, and that's where I don't know if they'll ever have enough to have a jury convict Wendy. And Wendy in my opinion, Wendy tries to come across like, so to I don't think Wendy is immature. I think she's incredibly smart. I think she understands emotions. Charlie came off very immature to me personally. Uh, he didn't really control his impulses, his emotions, and we will see what happens. All right. Uh, let's make sure that I've given you all the information. Okay. So, manipulative tactics in enmeshed families. So, manipulation is a primary tool to prevent family members from achieving autonomy. And it's my understanding when Rob wanted to like leave, wanted to distance himself from the family, I think they made him pay, or like I don't know, like, it's not like he was completely disowned, but it seems like he had to like buy his way out of the practice or something. I don't know. Like, it's just, if the family's weird. And so there are some people where like, if you don't do what they say, they'll be like, you're not going to be in my will, or the family will isolate or cut the person off if they try to be their own person. Emotional manipulation exploits blurred boundaries in enmeshed families by making family members feel responsible for the happiness and emotional state of others, ensuring continued dependency. All right. The tactics used are guilt and emotional blackmail. This tactic is often used to discourage independence, conditional love. Affection or approval may be withdrawn if a family member does something they disagree with. And we have examples of this. And so when I say my love is conditional, so like right now, my son wants to be a video game, like he wants to play video games as his future career. No worries, do you? His mother's a psychologist, his father's an aerospace engineer. Like if he wants to play video games and can make a living doing that, more power to him. There are some families that would be like, if you don't become a medical doctor, a lawyer, or uh like some type of professional, like what we consider to be professional, you have disappointed us. You have like you no longer have my love or approval if you don't do what I want you to do, which is a problem. So that's where people realizing that their children have their own identities, their own wants, desires, and it's normal for them to want to express that. Now, we do that within healthy boundaries. So, my child would love to only eat dessert all day, but that's not healthy for him. So, we make sure that he eats a balanced meal. And so, before he gets dessert, he has to make sure that he eats his regular food first. And so even though he would want to only eat desserts, well, that's not healthy. And so we have a certain standard, we have certain expectations within our home. So I don't think Wendy is as meek and timid as she comes off. Okay. I personally, I don't know it to be true. I believe because it comes across with this Southern nice nasty, okay? It comes across with this, like, Southern, like, passive aggressiveness that only a Southern person can do, where they're, like, kinda they know what you want and they're not gonna say it. They're not gonna give it to you. I don't know, like, I don't think Wendy is as meek and timid. I don't think Wendy is as meek and timid as she comes across on the stand. Okay. I don't think she is. Um, all right. Malicious politeness. Because she's very clever. I don't because she does this like she's not Mormon, but she does the like Mormon baby girl voice where she like makes her voice small and like you have to like I don't know if it's true. Like, I'm just here because I was subpoenaed, and it's true because she wouldn't be there if she wasn't subpoenaed. She doesn't want to be there, and she has immunity from the prosecution, and it's going to come up. Bambi eyes. Like, just a bless your heart. The voice gets to me. I am going to cover, when Wendy testifies, I will definitely cover that, and we will react with clips. If Donna testifies, ooh, I don't know if I'll be able to wait until Tuesday. Like, there might be a pop-up stream. If Donna testifies, I might have to, like, stream it, just, like, chat with y'all on my drive home or I don't know now. I will, we will have to chat if Donna does take the stand. Defendants have the right to not take the stand. If they do, I sit there with popcorn. I am ready. I will probably have literal popcorn. I'm gonna have to go and get some popcorn because ooh, for Wendy and because I'm probably have some facial expressions for Wendy. Uh and we will and this because Wendy has already testified. I think Wendy testified in all the other trials. So Wendy's prepared, I think. She likely knows the types of questions that they're gonna ask. I believe she's already been deposed probably, so she probably already has a general idea of what's gonna be asked. If Wendy is arrested post-trial, do you think she'll stay true to the family? So the same way Donna is throwing everybody under the bus, so I think she's gonna say, "I never knew." Like, "I didn't know." Like, "I was just as surprised as everybody else. My mom made the appointment for the TV, and, like, this I never asked them to do this." I don't think if she knows anything, she might say it. Now, if she did know anything that could convict somebody else, I don't but you have to see because if she knew beforehand and she didn't stop it or warn him, 'cause that's where it can get into some murky things of, like, what did you find out after the fact? And so, because she moved in with her parents, I think a week after he died. She changed the kids' last names to Adelson, which I personally have a problem with. I don't know. So this is just I'm Dr. Bear. I just share my personal thoughts. To me, last names carry legacy. And if something ever happened to my husband, I would never change. My kid is Barry. Like I would never change the last name of my child. I grew up with a different last name from my mom, starting about 9 or 10 years old, and it was hard, especially since my mom's first name is Johnny, which sounds like a man's name, and so, uh like, oh, we were flying from Georgia to Germany, and we had to, like, pull out my birth certificate because they thought my mother was trying to steal a child, like, 'cause we were flying from Georgia. We were relocating to Germany, and so they just wanted to make sure that I was her daughter, and she did have permission to take me out of the country, and, so, like, I think we had to show my birth certificate, like, and I had a passport, like, but we had to show all this stuff, jump through all these hoops, and so having a different last name from your children can create some extra stuff, but it's not to me, you don't change the name. That's just my own personal thoughts, okay? It's not that's my own personal thoughts. Oh, mm. Anytime, anytime. So I try to answer questions as they come in, especially as I see them, and we will go from there. All right. Ooh, so with manipulation, there can also be a victim mentality. Ooh, manipulators may blame others for their unhappiness. So to me, Donna was blaming Wendy and Dan for why she was unhappy. And it was like, ma'am, this is on you to cope. Like it would have been, it should have been between Donna and her therapist to cope with how difficult her daughter's custody thing is and how can she set some boundaries and maybe get a hobby, maybe start volunteering to help. I don't know, but like she needed to do something else and not be meddling up in Wendy's life and my personal thoughts and opinions. Because she wouldn't be sitting in court if she had done that. If she had minded her own business, like so Wendy's business was not hers, but I think she sees her children's business as her business, which is problematic when you start doing crimes. So it's problematic sometimes in general, but like when you start doing crimes, it raises it. When you're charged with crimes, because she hasn't been convicted, when you're charged with crimes, it can kind of cause some issues. All right. So they may say, if you move away for that job, who will take care of me to discourage independence? There can be this fear and obligation. People may feel that they owe family members for past sacrifices, compelling them to comply with the family's wishes. And I do think Donna used that in those emails to try to get Wendy to do whatever she wanted her to do. There can be gaslighting and invalidation. So this tactic can undermine a person's sense of reality. And the gaslighting is like so to me, Donna saying that like Wendy not fighting harder is ruining Donna's life. Like that's like what? Like that's just the like she's distorting the reality so much that it's like this isn't like this is your problem. Like this isn't my problem. This is your problem. And this tactic can undermine a person's sense of reality, making them dependent on the manipulator for their perception of events. And this isn't to excuse anything, it's just to help us understand. So sometimes people can deny reality. The manipulator may deny things they said or did, leaving the other person confused. They may also be dismissing of feelings. A family member's feelings may be minimized or dismissed with phrases like, you're too sensitive, it's not a big deal. But I think she did the opposite of she like catastrophized the situation to be like, this is the worst thing ever. Like, oh my gosh, if y'all stay in Tallahassee, like the boys are, I don't know, like it was like, things are gonna be horrible if y'all stay in Tallahassee. And I think things would have been fine. Now, Donna wouldn't have seen her grandkids as much, but that would have like it would have been okay. The children would have had their mother and father. Their children would have had, normal, appropriate lives. And so you don't contract with, killers to like solve custody disputes. Like that's a problem. That's a really, really big problem. And we shouldn't have to say that, but sometimes we do. There can be isolation and no outsiders mentality, and mesh families often discourage members from forming close relationships outside of the family unit. There can be jealousy and criticism. And I wonder if Donna was like jealous of Dan's influence over Wendy. So it's normal for a couple to kind of change as they are growing together. So when I first met my husband, I did not eat organic food. I did not eat organic because I was a poor graduate. uh, I had over $200,000 of student loan debt to pay off. By that time, it might have been 175 or 17. I don't know. I had a whole bunch of debt. I think I was like when I first met him, I know because I was coming out of being underemployed, where I had my doctorate, but I was only making like $25 an hour, and my between my mortgage and my student loan payment, I had no extra money, so I was living on my credit cards. Um, and so, with all that said, I when I met him, like, so I used to go to like so he's a bit of a food snob. Like he's really picky about where he eats, what he eats, all those things. I've become more picky about those things. And my family isn't like, Lamar is changing her for the I don't know, like, they're not looking down on that. Like, they're like, "Oh," like, they see it as a positive thing that we've both grown in these ways. Um, my husband is a very particular person, and I am not. ADHD. Ooh, I have piles everywhere, and he deals with my piles, and when his mother comes to our house, she's probably like, "Oh my gosh, how does my son live with this woman?" But he's like, "Oh, but she has my grandchild. We love her. We love our grandchild." And they like keep whatever opinions, it's kept to themselves. Like that's just what you do. Thank you for that right there. And so when people I hate it when people call people too sensitive because it can be problematic, but it's just the whole thing. What do you think about Donna serving non-kosher food at the wedding? That was a red flag. That was a huge red flag. Like, I think she knew how, because I think Danny told the guests, like, the guests that he knew were kosher to not eat the food. So, when my husband and I got married, for our reception venue, it was me, my husband, my in-laws, and my mom, 'cause my mom paid for the biggest portion, like, she paid for the reception, and, but we took everybody's dietary concerns. We had a plated meal that was fish. People did not have an option of anything. I'm sorry, not fish, it was chicken. We had a plated meal that was chicken, and there were some different things on there. We had, like, past hors d'oeuvres, and we picked, like, what we thought would work for everybody's palate. But let's say and then my brother is vegan, and my brother and sister-in-law were vegan, very, very vegan at the time, And I think I worked with the venue to make sure that anybody with special stuff, that we were able to make sure that they had, something that they could have as well. Like, to me, it's just it's so despite the fact that the groom was very, he ate kosher, even if the guests were kosher, to have non-kosher food, I think that was just Wendy's, like, I'm sorry, not Wendy, Donna's, like, middle finger, like, I run this bitch. Like, that's what, like, that's how it feels to me. Y'all correct me in the chat if it's wrong. Ooh, somebody thinks that Wendy will call her mom emotionally harmful. At Donna's trial, do you think? Or if she's ever charged? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying if Wendy's ever charged that she'll turn on her mom? I don't know. I don't know. Do you think Wendy was happy with Dan, but Donna convinced her she wasn't and to leave Dan? So, this is where I wish that in premarital counseling or in some type of counseling, somebody could have talked, because I think Wendy has benefited from allowing her mother to make decisions for her. Do you know what I mean? So, like, allowing her mother to kind of, these are just my personal thoughts, I don't know it for sure, I don't know it for sure. I've seen situations where, especially somebody that wants to come across as the nice one, and so right now, Donna's the one that looks evil, but when I look at this, I say Wendy could have spoke up and defended her spouse. So, my mom does not speak bad about my husband to me. My husband's parents do not speak bad about me to him. Like, so for and if there's a true concern, I think you have to address it. And Donna was sending Wendy Match.com matches while Wendy was still married. Like, I've never seen a bigger red flag. Like, that is just so much. Do you think when Donna cried at the pictures, she had regret for what I think it was a show for the jury, my own personal thoughts. I don't know it for sure. Okay. Do you think when Donna, cried at the okay, yeah, I already answered that one. I agree with Afton that it was horrible and intentional. Donna was making a statement that Dan didn't matter by doing, and I think it was more that her thoughts and opinions, that, like, "You're not gonna come in here and change the way we eat. You're not gonna change us," which is very immature. Like, so to do things kosher, and most especially in Florida, in Miami, like in Florida, most venues can do the meal kosher. It would be easy to do the meal kosher. I think there was like shrimp, or there were things there that were not kosher and that were not things that people, that are Jewish, that adhere to the dietary, like, kosher. It's not things that they would eat, and so it's a lot. I was surprised that Donna threw Wendy under the bus and Charlie. I was that she allowed her team to do that. So I think she's gonna pull a what's his name? Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell. I think she's gonna pull a Chad Daybell and be like, my lawyer's the one that wanted to go with this strategy. Like, this was our best strategy. This is what my lawyer decided. Remember, Rash Bomb, I think Rash was almost Donna's attorney, like Charlie's attorney, that Charlie, I think, was appealing, saying ineffective assistance of counsel or something. Like, I think, and there would be a conflict. So lawyers that helped Charlie were almost the ones that defended Donna, because they started out as Donna's lawyer first, which might have been a conflict of interest for Charlie, especially, with all that went down. And so this whole thing is just a big mess. I think Donna was a saboteur. but I don't wanna let Wendy off easy because I think Wendy allowed it. So there's no way if my husband was, so my this literally just happened recently. My husband is really allergic to dogs, and, we have a trip planned, and a family member that has dogs was gonna pick us up from the airport, and I knew that was gonna be a problem. Even like, I knew it was gonna be a problem, and so if I rent a car, it should, because if we get in the car, so my husband will immediately start having a reaction if there's pet dander. Like, he can tell immediately, so all we have to do is sit in the car for a little bit, and if everything's okay, we drive off and it's fine. If we get in the rental car and he starts having a reaction, I'm gonna have to go ask for another car. I am allergic to cigarette smoke, and so with rental cars, I also if I get in the rental car and it reeks of cigarette smoke, I have to get a different, like, I can't. Like, there's not enough Benadryl in the world. Like, I just can't be in a car where there's cigarette smoke. And so, it would have been easier for us to be picked up from the airport by family, but because of, like, I know my husband's gonna be more comfortable if we just rent a car. So we're gonna rent a car. Like, there are things you do just because you're not a jackass, or just because you're not mean, just because you're kind and compassionate, because you have empathy. I don't know. And that's where, like, it seems easy when you have empathy, when you think about the wants and needs of others. There seems to be a lot of entitlement with Donna, and she doesn't really seem to look at what other people want. Why do you think Wendy was so passive in her relationship with her mother? It seemed like she just gave in to her mother's wishes and never stood up for herself. So I think it sometimes did it serve Wendy? Did it? Did Wendy ultimately, like, I'm not I would question if so I'm being careful with what I'm saying because Wendy has not been charged. The state views her as an unindicted co-conspirator. Sometimes when people don't speak up, it's because the game that's being played serves them. If it wasn't serving her, I think Wendy would have spoke up. And Wendy didn't do everything. So, like, Wendy, because Donna was telling Wendy to, like, pretend to, like, take the kids to a church and take a picture of them in front of the church. Wendy ignored that. So I think sometimes Wendy just ignored her mother. Do you know what I mean? Like, Wendy didn't take everything her mother said to heart, but there were some things that I think, like, I don't know. So that's what I'll say. If Donna really cared for her family, would she have put her head down when the lawyers were throwing her family under the bus? So that could also be embarrassment or shame or like normal feelings of guilt or something. I don't know. I have not assessed her, so I can't say exactly what she might think or feel. I didn't watch her. So I think I was doing some notes or something. I was watching with Emily D. Baker and I was watching Emily's reactions because Emily was like doing the same things I was doing. Like, it was like, no, like, and I was just appalled that they were, speaking uh, so Dan Markel sounds like he was a great guy, but for the defense to be the one that brings all that up, it felt weird to me. It might have been a good strategy. I'm not a lawyer. How were they not afraid of getting caught? I think they thought they were smart. Like, I think they thought if anybody goes down, the, uh, m it's gonna be Katie, Luis, and Sigfredo. I think they thought if anybody gets caught, it's gonna be the people whose hands were dirty. Maybe Charlie. I don't think Donna ever thought now when Charlie was convicted and she saw, because the state was very open that they thought Wendy and Donna were, like, involved somehow too. The state was very open with that, and I think that's when Donna decided to I think she called Wendy to say, like, "Hey, what?" Because I thought that was recorded. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, because I thought Don or she or Donna talked to Charlie about calling Wendy and that Wendy wouldn't answer the phone or she wouldn't answer his question her question. I thought Donna complained to Charlie about that. that Wendy wouldn't answer her question about what countries don't have extradition. I think Wendy said, like, "Talk to my lawyer," or something. Like, I think Wendy said, not going there. So, I will be watching the trial, with Emily D. Baker's stream. Uh, I love it there. I know, Surviving the Survivor and some other people, Recovery Addict and some other people that I follow. I know that Lawyer You Know will be doing reactions later. Um I love Emily and the cursey words. I absolutely love her stream. Um, really watching her react to the Amber Heard trial was kind of what gave me inspiration to like, "Oh, I want to do something like that, but from the psychological perspective." So, and it was a client that told me about, Emily D. Baker, so I thought that was cool. Justice for Dan, exactly. Justice for Dan. And we will see what the jury decides. I think the state is coming out strong. And they're not I like it when trials move at a, like, steady pace. A lot of these initial witnesses are gonna be related to what, Sigfredo and Luis did, and so, I remember in, Lori Vallow's Arizona trial, the jury 'cause the jury heard a lot about what her brother Alex did. And then, like, towards the end, it was like, "Oh, like, these are Lori's emails," and that's where all the stuff about Lori came out towards the end. I think they're saving the meat of their case for, like, next week, and so we will see what happens. The judge is on it, and the judge I might try to see if I can find where the judge looked at the defense and he was pretty much like, "Y'all don't waste my time. We've already done this. I've already given y'all my answer. Don't do this again." The judge has a calmness. To me, he's even more zen than, the judge from Sarah Boone's trial, than Judge Kranek. Like, he is just the word that comes to my mind is, like, Xanax or like, he is just so chill, but not. Like, he is stern, but, like, he just he doesn't let himself get, like, but, like, if something is bothering him, you can tell, but it's because he's, like he just puts on a stern face and just says it. I don't know. I've Judge Everett, yes. But he didn't, like, let it show, but you could tell. You could you could tell when the judge told her to control her reactions, and I don't know that she will. So if she thinks it will serve her, I think she's gonna have an emotional reaction. And if he corrects her in front of the jury, it could be something that's brought up on appeal. Um, I've seen a lot of defendants get emotional when, like, pictures were shown or things happened, and, but he corrected it on the record outside of the presence of the jury, and I'm glad he did. His boundaries were beautiful, and Donna needs them. Donna needs boundaries because I think she'll try to push it. Just my own personal thoughts. Let me see if there were any other things that I had. Jealousy and criticism, prioritizing family, and then micromanaging and control. Oh my gosh. Manipulators may exert control over even minor decisions in a family member's life, preventing them from developing autonomy. This can include controlling career paths, relationships, or even personal hobbies. And that's where it's just like, oh, and individuals that grow up in this type of environment sometimes can struggle with a lack of identity, difficulty with their own boundaries, and emotional dependence, where they almost become dependent on the approval or on meeting the needs of that parent. They might have impaired relationships, and then they could have anxiety, depression, low self-esteem. How do you break free from manipulation in an enmeshed family? Set and enforce boundaries. And I'm going to say it again for anybody that didn't hear it earlier. A boundary is about me and what I'm going to do. It's not about the other person. So one of my boundaries is I don't let people borrow large sums of money. So a person can ask me, Patrice, can I borrow $1,000? Can I borrow $10,000? Can I borrow 100? I don't have 10,000 or 100,000. But like a person could ask me to borrow money, and that's not violating my boundary because I'm going to say no. Even if I have $1,000 that I could let somebody borrow, it's my own personal thing that I don't lend out money. It's just not my thing. Now, if I'm independently wealthy and I just wanna give somebody a few hundred or something, please don't ask me for like, but that becomes I don't, because if I let somebody borrow money, it's now in my mind that they owe me money, and now I'm gonna be tracking it, and it's just I just don't wanna do that. I don't wanna bring finances into it, and so, this question, do you think Wendy's finding her own identity in the midst of this crazy storm? Sure, I guess. Um, I don't know. I don't know. So I don't know if anything's changed. I know she doesn't want to go to jail. Like I know she very much wants to be in her children's lives. And I don't think she wants to go to jail. She is a lawyer and she knows the law, and her mother, like I'm mm, Donna, it's my understanding that Donna wrote handwritten notes to a cellmate of what she wanted, the testimony that she wanted the cellmate to memorize and to say Kathy McBanawa said to her at a previous time that she was incarcerated. Donna hand wrote. So, Donna's not a good criminal. Like, she's not, and if she hasn't been convicted, but, if I was on the jury and if that came into evidence, so I don't even know what's in. So I don't know what she wanted the person to say yet. It's my understanding that it's something that, like, Kathy McBanawa lied about, but, like, there's a handwritten letter from Donna trying to suborn perjury. A script. There's a script in Donna's handwriting. And so, like, it's probably smart for Wendy to not be because Donna, she doesn't know the law. And or if she knows the laws, she seems to think that she won't get caught. So it's my understanding she was using her lawyer's phone to call Harvey because she knew her phone calls were being tracked. And you're not supposed to do that. You're not, because they're tracking the phone calls for a reason. You're not supposed to do that. Uh So Wendy, I don't think Wendy, until all this is resolved, I think Wendy is gonna like do her own thing. Yes. Donna has her own walk the dog letter, like Corey Richins. So I that note, and I think the defense tried to get it excluded, I believe. And so far, they have not been able, because I think whoever that informant is going to have to testify. Now, I think the informant got a deal. So the informant, I think, got less time or no, I don't know. The informant, but Donna wrote it. Like, so is Donna gonna say that that the person told? I don't know. I don't know what Donna's gonna try to say. Because Donna was trying to say that people were trying to steal her commissary, that she was being bullied. But it's my understanding that she was trying to like bribe people with like, hey, I'll do this for you if you'll lie for me in court. That's what the state said. I didn't say that. I'm telling you, Wendy. So I think Rob. So I think Rob, the one that got away, I think Rob is absolutely the healthiest of them all. Don't 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 buy Wendy. I think Wendy's smart. And I don't know if the state's gonna be able to get a jury to convict her. I don't know. I don't know. All right. In my opinion as well, I don't know how Donna gets out of this. The woman was promising veneers. And I don't is Kathy McBanawa, if she testifies, is she gonna talk about how she got $30,000 for like her like that she got so Kathy from Gossip Rumor and Innuendo, she calls them murder boobs. Is that gonna come up? I don't know. I didn't know this trial would be interesting to me. So I only cover things that like interest my brain. okay? And I can only talk about things in a way that is interesting. Or else I just end the stream. If I no longer have anything else to say, I'm like, "All right, I'll see y'all next time," and I end the stream. Rob is key. I do think he is gonna come down and testify. I think he's gonna be the one that talks. I wonder if so Donna's the one that, like, didn't like his his wife and didn't want him to marry her, and I think, like, ostracized him because of it. Yes? Ooh. So my son, I bought him something online earlier today, and it was $25 and he gave me $24. Would you like to keep your coins? Because I told you I would accept $24. You do not owe me any money. So you got because it was 23.99. I was trying to charge you tax. Okay. So, but mommy will pay the tax and you keep your dollar of coins. Okay? All right. You have a good one. We teach math over here. Like, hey, you got tax, but I don't like coins. I like paper. And it's an Amazon tax. It wasn't mom tax. I bought it on Amazon. We didn't go to the store. So I ordered him some Pokemon cards on Amazon and it was 23.99. He only had $24 or he has more cash. And so I told him like I don't need and but he brought me $4 in coins and so I don't need it. Mom will pay the tax. Speaking of manipulation, don't you think that Jackie, as an ex-judge, is trying to rattle the judge? I don't know. So I think defense lawyers try to, because also they have to be careful with that. I'm not a defense attorney, but I think the ones I follow, like Natalie Lawyer Chick, you don't want to get on the judge's bad side. And I don't know that her attorneys are on the judge's good side. The judge seems annoyed, but his rulings can't like he just wants the facts. And her attorneys, because at one point they wanted a special um instruction to the jury and they didn't cite the right wording of what should be said. Emily D. Baker gave wonderful wording of what they should have said. That wasn't what they said. I think it was with Donna's emails coming in saying that um, it can't be used as facts, as like she definitely, but like it could be used towards her character. I don't know. There was a special instruction that was given to the jury, and the lawyers struggled to kind of come up with the wording. Emily D. Baker did a great job coming up with it. And so, it is what it is. Judge Everett is having a wonderful job and so is doing a wonderful job. So I did watch and review, and it's linked in the description. So if you would like to see me react to Wendy's first test, to her first time on the stand, to her testimony in Charlie's trial, check out the link in the description. Okay. I did a video. It was before I paid for YouTube premium. So you'll see commercials, but like I skip past them. And somebody was so mad, but they gave me good feedback. Sometimes people get mad, but they give good feedback. And somebody was like, "You mean you have, I don't know. I don't know how many subs I had. It might, I don't know. But they were like, and you don't pay for YouTube premium." And I was like, "Oh, my bad. I'm still paying for my college loans. Like I didn't pay for it." So I did. I paid for YouTube Premium. Thank you to whoever gifted the membership. There are a few members only videos tomorrow. I am so 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 excited. I am going to be interviewing. Oh, y'all know me in names. Nick Casodis's first wife. Okay. So tomorrow, his first wife, Heather, reached out to me and wanted to have a conversation. We are doing a pre recorded interview. Once I finish the editing, that interview will be open to members only first, and then it will be available to everybody. I think I'm going to do it I'm sorry. I want to watch it with all of y'all. So I'm probably going to do it tomorrow at 6 p.m. as a what's it called? As not tomorrow. My brain. Y'all. I've been live for an hour and 43 minutes, and my brain is starting to short circuit. On Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm gonna do a premiere of that interview, okay? She is phenomenal, and she really wants to center, the victim in the case, and so glad that the victim was able to get justice. And so a premiere just means that I'm in the chat. So that's what a premiere is that I will be in the chat with you all. um Depending on how the interview goes, if I'm too excited about it, I might do a live video where I show it to y'all and I can answer y'all's questions after the interview. So that's the other option that I might do. My brain, I'll figure it out. Okay. So once we do the interview tomorrow, it's going to be pre recorded. I might do some edits. And then the full thing will air. When people are not streamers, I like to offer them the chance to, like, hey, if there's something that you said and maybe you want me to take it out later, but just before it goes live, I just need to know. So I like to give people the option that, hey, if you want me to edit something, that I can. The types of questions that I have that we will be talking about, let me pull up the questions that I have for her. Do, 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 do. The goal is to talk about these questions. It's going to be a general conversation, so we might veer off of it, but she'll be able to introduce herself. Looking back, were there any red flags from her relationship with Nick? A lot of people question whether Nick was delusional or just a liar. Any thoughts from your experience with him? How did you become involved with the case? I'm just interested to see, like what how that came up. Was there anything that didn't come up during the trial, but you think it would be helpful for people to understand? Any thoughts on why Nick's parents continue to support him? And then what does she hope people learn or recognize from this case? And so those are some of our prepared questions. Yes, Heather. Yes. Wife number one. I will be doing an interview with her tomorrow, but pre recorded. And then it'll be available Monday. And I will post, like, because I'll know for sure tomorrow what the plan is. I don't know today. My brain, I get, or talk about impulsivity of Charlie. Sometimes I get a little impulsive, and so sometimes I end up coming up and saying things, and so all right, all right. So I appreciate, yes. Oh, whoa, you were there for her testimony. Wow, that's super cool. That trial was wow, and I did 2 videos talking about that case, and then gonna do this interview, and it is what it is. Toshi, sorry, Toshi. Nice. Because if I said it, I probably would have said it a different way, and I like to say people's names the correct way. Oh. All right. So I appreciate you all. We are at the end of this video. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Oh, you're not familiar with his case. Nick Casotis, ooh, lying liar, former Navy JAG officer. Like, in his trial, he blamed it on this, what we all believe to be an imaginary FBI agent. If you search Nicholas Casotis, he decided to testify in his trial, and it was a mess. It was an absolute mess. And so, if you want to look into it, I have a few videos on it. You can definitely take a look. And then I did a second video just talking about confirmation bias and how anybody can be the victim of a scam. So anybody can be scammed, and so just some tactics that scammers use. And it was really, Heather was the one that mentioned confirmation bias and how learning about that was really helpful for her. And so I did a video on that. And so I, once again, I'm saying goodbye for the third time. I would swear I was a pastor or something. Not really. People that go to churches where the pastor does a bunch of closings, you would understand that. I will see y'all next time. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your day.